Monday, 1st of July, 2024, 9:35 a.m., something like that. Commander's log. First, dreams. Yeah, you know, dreams, they come, they go, just dreams. But it's good to write them down, or at least write down just some key words, you know, about the dream. I used to try and, you know, write down very specific detail, everything, but actually I find that it's more some keywords, phrases, things to anchor me back to that, and characteristics, in there, and how that is relevant in the intricate tapestry of the mind and the metaphysical substrate, and how that kind of manifests into reality and it phases back and forth. So a couple of dreams here. Yesterday, Sunday, 30th of June, was an interesting dream. I dreamt that I was working in the casino again. I was a dealer on the casino again, which I've done before, and then I forgot where I put my bags, and then I was in a locker room at some point, and then I was in a lunchroom at some point, and then there was a security guard there who I recently worked with, and yeah, it was a whole amalgamation of various different things. But I think the interesting point there was that it was in a casino, and then the thing that happened was, this is interesting, it's like about the dream. Okay, what were the characteristics, and what were the environments like in the dream? What was the dream environment like? That's the first thing. Next thing is like, what happened in the dream? What happened? What was the events? And what significance of, what was the essence of the significance of what happened? What happened is that I lost my bag, and I couldn't find my bag. And then I was like, oh yes, the casino, you know, it has a locker room. And then I thought, well, my bag must be in the locker room. And I know I forgot where the locker room was. I put my bag somewhere else. So let me go into the lunchroom. And then at some point I was talking to Mark, the security guard who I recently worked with. It was in the dream, interesting dream. And just this morning, oh no, Sunday 30th of July, yes, this morning, last night I had two dreams, Monday 30th of July. The first dream was that there was the environment. It was that there was an old computer, and I was going through the old computer, which must have been one of my ones, and then I came across some very interesting videos of me that I had made a while ago. And I'm like looking at these videos, and I'm like, yeah, it's definitely me, but my personality's a little bit different, and the things I was doing was, I don't remember ever doing that. And so what it seemed to be was videos from an alternate reality. What was the video? I smiled, and it was interesting. I was doing, it was like in a field, and no, it was like in a kind of a baseball court, something, reminds me of like some baseball game kind of environment. And I can't remember what I was doing, but I was definitely smiling, and I looked quite cool, quite, quite handsome, and yeah, pretty cool, attractive, and I was watching it on the old computer. And I'm like, whoa, who's this guy? It's me, but I don't remember that. But it's really cool. Yeah, and then either in the computer screen there was a number of screens, and the characteristics was that it was very messy environment. And then I remember my brother, he says, I should invest in diamonds, or either me was telling him or he was telling me about to invest in diamonds, and that investing in diamonds would be a good business investment because of what's happening in this current state in the world, and that's a good idea. And the other thing was that happened, or that the feeling was that it was very boring, and because I was looking through my old life on these computer screens, and it was all a mess, and just like a lot of my life has been, it's quite messy and difficult to find some organization of way to actually achieve something, and it's all just a mess that's going on here. And somewhat depressing feeling afterwards. And then the second dream was it was some kind of adventure environment, and then my friend PC there, and he was there, and he was sort of harassing me. He like, well, I don't know what it is from his point of view, but for other people, he kind of seems like he's a little bit cynical, a little bit likes to harass people to kind of get off of it a little bit. Maybe he just feels bored, he needs something like that. But he's maybe, yeah, that was what it was. And then I tried to reason with him, like, dude, you don't need to harass me, and if you harass me, I'm gonna hit you, I'm gonna hurt you. And then he confronted me and says, well, then I'm going to hurt you. And then, but it was in a kind of an adventure environment as well. Yeah, so those are just some things that, just making a note of it, that's obviously what have some, that would be related to various different timings of different residual momentum of different subconscious thought processes happening on various different levels of the psyche, and then manifesting in these dreams. So again, like dreams, they come, they go, and sometimes I wake. Some of these things, I don't want to write this down. This is, it's like depressing and weird, and sometimes I have even way more weirder dreams, like, yeah, I'm not going to go into it, but I still write them down, actually, even though it's something weird, or I still write it down, because but the thing is, to be detached from it is to understand these different timing, different things, different thought brainwaves and thought processes ticking away in different areas of the mind, and write it down to detach from it. And that's the key. Is that that's the key of this training method, is that obviously I would like to improve my health. Obviously I would like to be successful, and I would like to have a successful business, using doing the things that I like to do. That's achieving something for everyone, that I'm achieving something from it, and other people can see that it's working, and just by watching that, it will be entertaining, and also it's gonna help people. That's what I want to do. The thing is, how does one do this? And of course, as we can see within these dreams, there's so many different things ticking away at different levels of the mind. So first we have to we got to accept it. Don't try and block it and run away from it. Be aware of what it is, so that you can detach from it. This is quite deep concept. This is, we could go at it in so many different ways, but let me just go at it in the ways that I've just been looking at with some kind of philosophical inquiry. So even from a scientific level, philosophical inquiry, but it's going to tie into scientific things. This is like, can we see a shadow here? I need a shadow. Okay, maybe you can see a shadow. See a shadow. This is like if we have a beam of light shining, from over there to here, or maybe it's shining up onto the moon, and it's projecting a light onto the moon. Okay, we can transmit information through that beam of light, or we could use anything in the electromagnetic spectrum. We could use visible light, we could use radio frequency, whatever. But whatever it is, it would correspond to a yang energy. It's expanding. It's a radiation. It's a radiation of energy, and of course it's centrifugal. It's expanding outwards, and it's because it's traveling. But there are two components here and people often miss the other one, which is the obscure one, which is the space within the thing, here I have a solid cup. It's not a radiation of energy or whatever, but there is a space within this cup. Okay, there's a space within this cup. If I pour water into the cup, the water is going to form the shape with the space within. And there is also something which corresponds to that in this situation, whereas if we have a beam of radiated energy, whether it's light or radio frequency, whatever, going from here to the moon, or from here to, this is a perfect example. This live stream right here is also based on this yang component of energy being radiated and going through the camera and transmitting, through the internet and up into space, and through in this case it would be through the satellite, through the cell phone towers, through microwave. So I'm going to have to tie a few things together here, and we'll get ChatGPT to help us out as well. So, okay, I'll move on to another thing, and then we're gonna bring it all together. So, think of the concept of the self versus the no self in Buddhism or in Vedic teaching. That's similar, and also in Taoism and any spiritual tradition that delves deeply into, or any meditative, any training method. I mean, even any potentially any sports discipline. If people are really seeking to get good, they're going to know They're going to understand this concept on some level. It's going to be applied in some way. But the Buddhist concept of the self versus the no self, okay, and people who misunderstand this concept, they will just say, like, you know, there is no self, period. Like, you know, one of my friends who's, you know, sort of Buddhist enthusiast or Buddhist, however he would describe it, define it, explain it, you know. But yeah, so the misunderstanding is just to say there is no self, period, because this is what's coming from some Buddhist teachings, and this is only one part of the. This is only one part of it. You need to understand both parts of it. Okay, so I think it would be Atman versus Anatman. Atman, the self; Anatman, the no self. The idea, the concept that there is no self is simply that no part of the self, no part of our body, no part of my energy, no part of my mind is unchanging. Everything is constantly changing, just like everything in the universe is constantly in motion. You know, the Earth is rotating, the moon is rotating around the Earth is rotating around the sun is rotating around our galaxy, and then, you know, everything's just in constant motion. So no part of the self, as well as we go through these cycles of death and rebirth, and, you know, samsara and all this. But the thing is, what is the space, the space which is between, let's imagine this is in a long tube, and there's many different wheel works and gears that are, you know, all rotating and, you know, changing different frequencies, phasing, resonating, and different things. But the space in between, and the nature of the space in between, the quality of the space in between, is what gives rise to consciousness. So the space all around us is actually filled with consciousness. And through that, okay, and this is you can say is the emptiness component, okay? Through this we can actually also transmit information, all right? We can also communicate, because we simply release our awareness, which is, you know, going into these a lot of different complicated you know, timings, which is going to manifest in all sorts of weird dreams and everything, and of course there's all sorts of, you know, political things going on, and even psychological warfare, and, you know, mind control, and really advertising, but it's they're using some hypnotic things in there to create different little belief systems, little melodies, little rhythms for that get past your critical factor, and that your consciousness goes into that, and then your energy goes into that and manifests it, and then, you know, hey presto, they're controlling you. All of a sudden you've got all these thoughts in your mind. You think they're your thoughts, but actually it's not even your thoughts. Someone else's thoughts controlling you. And they have all sorts of terrifying technologies nowadays that can even augment various different things that's ticking away in your mind. And yeah, apparently they definitely can do this. Not apparently, this exists, you know, and they've tested this on innocent people. Can augment fear, and all of a sudden there's just going to be absolute havoc. because people already have various different fear things ticking away, and they have different technology that can use kind of directed energy to augment that, to amplify that, and you will just be, I don't want to go into it because it's very scary, but we need to be aware that this technology, these things exist. But our only defense against that is actually to develop the power of our mind so that we can be aware of these different timings, so that we can detach from it, and so that we can build up our own life force energy, okay, and allow our consciousness to ground in that. Okay, that's my method anyway. There's other methods that can work. So through this, it's possible also to communicate, and I'm doing some meditation training. I went to a temple the other day and actually ran into an old friend of mine who also is a Chinese person who have a very deep understanding of the power of the human mind and the spiritual power and things. So I'm very happy to be going back there. So this is going to give me an opportunity to develop this. But we have other ways of communicating other than just the active yang component, what you see, what you hear. Most of the time your brain, you're using your brain and the speech centers of your brain, and it's all firing up. If you would put EEG, external electrodes on your mind, you could see it on the screen. All of your different parts of your brain would be active and processing what I'm speaking, and my body movement and everything. But there is a way to synchronize the brain hemispheres. The left brain hemisphere, which it's normally going into remember something, and then the right brain hemisphere, which is creatively analyzing things to generate an internal map of reality for you to base your decision making on, and to base a lot of things on. The thing is, that internal map of reality that is generated, it is just that. It is an illusion. Can be useful for us in certain scientific inquiry, philosophical inquiry, to invent things, but the thing is, it's not a direct. It's not the reality itself. Okay, it's not actually the nature of the space between. It's not actually about really legitimate consciousness experience of the mind and spiritual experience. It's still the active component, which is a second-hand experience of reality. So we have different tools that we can use to break down your internal map of your reality, such as neural linguistic program. A lot of people don't like it because if you have had a NLP session, it's gonna, as the therapist, basically they try and do it in a nice way, but they still have to at some point. They have to challenge your internal map of reality, and you're going to get different energies, coming up, and feel discomfort here, discomfort there, or angry about this, angry about that, because your awareness will be you'll be fighting to protect what you understand to be reality, and what you can. So true meditation and true qigong and true martial arts, it's about breaking down that internal map of reality and training up a kind of ability that is superior to that, So we can communicate even now through the space between the thoughts, the space between the words that I'm saying, the space between the information, all of the waves, frequency, and energy. In the Buddhist sutras, they explain this as like, you know, you have many thoughts, and you're gonna also, they use different mantras and chanting and thing, but the space between the thought is what we need to open up. We need to open up, create more space within the mind, to open up a space of emptiness that is detached from everything, so that the awareness within that emptiness is now aware of all the different little timings going on. But the question is, how can you really, do you really have true emptiness, is the question. And how do we develop that? So there's many different little so many different timings that are going on. There's the obvious ones, you know, the timing of the sun, the timing of the moon, the timing of the stars, the timing of the day and night, the timing of the weather, different cycles, rhythms, you know, things, the timing of the heart, the timing of the blood flow, the timing of, you know, the nerve impulses. But as we get deeper in our meditation, we're going to become aware of many more, much more subtle things. Until eventually we become aware of the timing which is resulting in your current set of conditions. Obviously, you're probably not happy with your current set of conditions. I'm sure you may be content with some of them, but a lot of our current set of conditions, which is a lot of it is, you can say it's, you know, it's forced upon us by, you know, the powers that be, by the, you know, the Illuminati, or some you know, nefarious aspect of the governments and corrupt things. But we just, our consciousness is quite powerful. But it's all about emptiness. It's about emptying. But what is one of my motivations to, like, what do I want to change about my current set of conditions? I need to identify what it is, what it was that was making me so unattractive, to girls and things like this. There's some problematic concepts of liberation when people, and this is a lot of mind control as well. A lot of these spiritual communities that are around, it's either they themselves are just get sucked into this very flowery liberation, quite far left, a little bit left leaning, let's say. I mean, it could be any extreme, but the problem is that it's just based on some visualization. It's based on some belief system, some map of reality that doesn't correspond to reality. That's some hope. Of course, they're hoping for a utopia, for maybe some, I don't want to say communist, but basically communist, socialist paradise, what is real progress? It's not when it's basically this thing they've been sucked into is a kind of collectivist idea, which it is basically, it's a lot of this is coming from a lot of the big institutions, the big governments, the big companies obviously behind it, which they're benefiting a lot because they create these belief systems and let them fly, let them go out there, and then of course it seems so good, so everyone goes into it. They power that up. That energy then goes back to them in the form of just energy, but also in the form of money, and that's how they maintain their power. And they've been doing that for many years, and that's how that's unfortunate, because there's a much better way to do this, actually. If everyone individually understands how to develop their own mind power, then that really is gonna be way better. Okay, that's gonna give everyone very good power. And it's unfortunate that people have they go with the the thing is, like, if I would rely on normal abilities, if I would rely on my normal cognitive abilities, I would be at a disadvantage. Okay, I've done many. I've studied Chinese medicine. I've studied electrical engineering. I did and it's very, very difficult for me to process information in the normal way. Being dyslexic, being on the spectrum of autism, perhaps, I don't know. But my mind just isn't wired in that way. If I would rely on normal cognitive activity that everyone else is I would be at a disadvantage. People just use me as a scapegoat. They say, I'm the perfect perfect scapegoat. But because I developed the special ability, now you don't have any way to scapegoat me now. So this is also something for others that are, let's say on the spectrum of autism, dyslexia, or they just cognitively they have no way to keep up with the regular academic process. They need some other way. So actually, this is what I'm offering. This is what I'm just developing. Okay. So we need to become aware of all this different timing, all these things that are just ticking away. And then when we can be aware of it, then we can let go of it. When we let go of it, then our consciousness is, because it was absorbed into it, now it's the consciousness is releasing from that. Now there's no more energy to power up. So now all those little timings, things, it just starts fading away, and then all that energy that was, going off in random different things, it's all coming back. All of the light is my consciousness, all coming back. Now I have some, now I have something good. Okay. If I would rely on the cards that I was dealt, and of course I'm very thankful for my parents for raising me, for giving me the love and the care and everything. But I mean, this is the same for anyone. If you would only rely on the information of your genetic information and everything of how it is, and you would just say, oh well, that's just how I was. If you would rely on that, you would just continue the same cycle, and this is actually what I'm saying is the true concept of liberation from the cycle of death and rebirth. There's a lot of this concept of liberation in Buddhism. It's misunderstood, and it's also a part of the mind control, is that they want to make you think that liberation from the cycle of, from the vicious cycle, the cycle of life, the samsara, whatever it is, they want to make you think that means that you have to, liberation from, desires, indulgences, things that make you happy, liberation from things that you actually need, from things that you want. No, actually, there's a way, and this is how you're going to achieve world peace, is from liberation from that. That's a lie. Okay, that's a lie. No. Liberation, it means liberation from failure. Why you keep failing? It's because your awareness is all soaked into these random different things, and is powering it up in the different institutions and organizations and intelligence fucking things doing all their bullshit. They've created all these different things that's siphoning off your energy. If you buy into this false concept of liberation, you're just, maybe you're being neutral, but you're not really addressing the problem. And you can have what you want. Your ego is part of your nervous system. It corresponds to some very fundamental physiological functions. We can regulate our ego with our higher self, okay? We can be a whole human being. A whole human being, that is, has wants, needs, sexuality, different preferences. There's just some bullshit mind control out there that's trying to sell you a really fucked up, watered down, distorted thing.